Welcome to the Global Dentist, the show that opens doors for international dentists looking to transition to North America. This is Sadaf, and I'm here with my co host, Rata.
Join us as we explore unique challenges, inspiring stories, and also practical advice from dentists who have successfully navigated their journey from practicing overseas to establishing their careers in the United States and Canada.
We have received a lot of feedback and messages from you all eager to know more, and we could not be happier to be engaging with our community. Today's episode is a very special one. We're going to deep dive into the four critical stages of the application cycle and how to succeed in each one. So, whether you are applying for CAAPID or PASS, this is the episode that you don't want to miss. So, stay tuned and let's get you ready for your favorite program.
As you know, each application cycle has four stages. The first stage of any application starts before the application cycle even starts. The second step is preparing and submitting your applications. Then you have to prepare for interviews. And the last step is the things that you have to do during and after your interviews. In today's episode, we are going to talk about the first two stages. So let's get into the tips and that will help you to succeed even if you're not applying this cycle.
All right, so stage one is before the application cycle even opens. And our first tip for you is to research the program very early on and reach out to the program director, ask for a shadowing opportunity. A lot of the schools are going to tell you, no, we don't offer shadowing opportunities to applicants who have not been invited for interview. But even if they say no to you, that's still a good thing because it shows that you're interested in that program. It shows that you have been willing to travel to that city and visit the school. So the program directors and the admission people will remember your name even if they say no to you. Do you agree with that, Rata?
Wait, I can remember that I wanted to do some externship and observership in some schools, so I emailed them. But the thing is, I didn't do that as early as possible. So the cycle was open, and they were kind of really near the time that they wanted to send their interviews. So a couple of schools told me that it's not really ethical to give that opportunities to some students that they want to do because so there are a lot of other students that they cannot come, and also it's really near the interview times and the time that they are going to decide for their residence. So I think it's a really good opportunity because you can see the culture of that program. They would know you, they would remember your name, and also you can find many things that would help you for your interviews because they might ask, okay, why do you want to apply to this program? So you have many things to talk about.
Exactly. And some programs they don't offer in-person shadowing, but they still do offer Zoom calls with the program director or one of the faculty. That's actually what I did for with one of the programs that I had emailed. The program director told me that, well, you can have a half an hour Zoom call with me and you can ask all the questions that you have. So that's what I did. So even if they say no to the shadowing, they might still offer you something else. And if they did say yes, you can come for shadowing, make sure that you 100% do take that trip. Do not email a program that if you get a yes from, you're not willing to travel to that city and go see the program because that's going to be way, way worse, of course. And do your homework, know everything about the program, have a specific questions to ask, and be friendly and nice to everybody there. All right, so for tip number two, take continuing education courses in the fields that you want to apply to. If you want to apply to IDP or an advanced general dentistry program like I did, make sure to take courses in the areas that you feel like you don't have enough knowledge in. And something that I want to add here is that a lot of international dentists think that they need to have already moved to the US to be able to start taking CE courses in the US. Well, that's completely untrue because a lot of the websites of I can say almost every company out there, like BioHorizons, Astroman, Dentsply, Colgate, they offer a lot of good free CE courses on their websites that you can take at your own time, learn more so that you can talk more during your interview, and also it's something good that you can put on your resume, right?
Yeah, exactly. I had that problem too during the time that I wanted to apply. I found some C courses that they were on, I think, on Colgate website. They were really good. They were about pediatric dentistry, and I wanted to take them, but I was like, they are free. Are they really good? And after that, I think after talking to you, I realized that yes, they are really good, and I have to take them, because there are many people around that every time that I'm talking about C courses, they're like, yeah, are you sure that those free ones are good, or how can I find those free ones? Because when you Google, sometimes those websites that they have that sponsorship, they're up, the top ones, so you cannot find them. But the things that Sadaf said, you can find them, and they're really good for your CV.
Exactly. Also, if you do have the time and you do have the budget, make sure to find the specific speakers that are highly credible in your field. For example, if you want to apply to ortho, find the courses and speakers who are famous and well known in that specific area and invest in those courses.
So talking about improving our CV, I think something that really help and is our next tip is about improving your US experience. If you can do shadowing or observership, even on your weekends, try to do that, because it's really important for programs to see that you are focusing on US experience. And also it's important for you to know that how to talk to patient, how dental practice in the US is going to be like, what are the names of different equipment materials that they are using, the difference between techniques. And also I think the most important part is about communication, because you would see like how they are going to work with the insurances. And also the important part about software, if you can find a clinic that has the same software as a university that is your target, it would really help you, because usually programs think that. So one of the most and big challenges of people when they got to school is about how they should work with software. Even if you work with just one software, you would have that knowledge, okay, how to work with these dental softwares for working, for charting and everything.
Yes, that's really important. Like even if you don't have the time to like do full-time shadowing, pick a couple of days a week and go shadow in those times. If you can work as a volunteer assistant, or if you're in a state that allows you to work as a hygienist, some states actually do, and we're gonna deep dive into that in one of the other episodes, that you can work while you are doing the application process and have some income. Do all of that, do as many tasks as you can that are related to dentistry and will help improve your CV.
Exactly. If they can work, it would be really good, because you are really working, so you have to communicate, straightforward to your patient. That's really good. So to the next tip that is really helping and helped me a lot is finding some forums or websites or groups that are for international students, or even for domestic students that they are going to apply. I think one of the website that really helped me, it was SDN website, that there have different forms for international students that they are going to apply for 2 years, the advanced studying programs, and also there are different groups for people who are actually applying for dental residency. I found the programs that I really wanted to focus on from that SDM part. There were some residents that they got matched, and they helped me to find more programs. They were talking about their like experiences, about culture. You can find the current students on that program, so you can talk to them, text them. That's really helpful, because I found many information about them. Like there were some schools that I thought I cannot apply to them, or even they don't like international students, but I seek people who got interviews from them, and I did apply. And I know a lot of people that they're using that information too. I think you used some of them, yeah.
Yes, especially when I received interview letters, I would go in these forums and specifically search the university's name and see what are the things that people wrote about their interviews in the previous years, what were the questions that they were asked, and how was their experience with the interviewing faculty and things like that. So yeah, they do help a lot.
Yeah, exactly. There are many groups in, I think, Facebook, Reddit, Telegram. Or I think I found a couple of people, not group, but I could find some information about schools in LinkedIn too. So for even if you're not applying this cycle, you want to do TOEFL exam or maybe IMBD or ADAT or any exam, you can find groups specific for those exams. Do not forget to search about them, because people will talk about their exam. You can use their experiences. Every month things can change. You can find many new resources. So do not underestimate these free websites. And so if we are going to talk about the next tip is about volunteer work. There's something that usually people, when I'm talking to them, they would ask that how should we find some volunteer work. The thing is, when I was in Boston, I just Googled about volunteer work in Boston because I wanted to be in person, but I was working a lot, so I couldn't go in person. So I tried to find a couple of opportunities that they were virtual or just online. The thing is, I didn't have any teaching experience in my CV, so I was looking forward to find some teaching experiences because I thought for because I was applying for residency and I knew that it would really help me to improve my CV. So I found that a couple of like opportunities about teaching English to some people all around the world and also teaching ballet to kids that they are living with foster parents. So if you cannot find anything 100% related to dentistry, just try to do something. If you can do some community services in church or something, it would really help you because you have to put on that part on your CV. Also, some schools they have that smile day, give kids a smile or something like that that you can participate to. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, even if you're not still in the US, you can start doing this in your own country. Make sure to participate in all the community service events that are going on in any capacity that you can. As Rata said, it doesn't necessarily have to be related to dentistry. As long as you show that you do care about your society and you do care about your community and you want to help other people, that will help your resume in return as well. One of the big events in the US is called the Mission of Mercy. Every state has their own mission of mercy. It happens usually once a year and it's a huge event. I think the last time that I participated, about 1,500 dentists and dental auxiliaries had participated in that event, which is over 2 to 3 days usually. And as an international dentist, you cannot participate as a dentist, but you can be there as a dental assistant and help the dentists that are there. So make sure to search for these events. There are a lot of events about caring for special needs patients going on in every single city and state. So search the Google, see when is the closest one to you, and participate in them for sure. All right. On the same note, kind of, do not underestimate the value of conferences. They will help you get in touch with what's going on in the field of dentistry, or if you're applying for specialty in that specific field, it will help you meet a lot of influential people, great speakers, people who may be residents or students in the same programs that you're applying to, or some people who have failed to get into a program in the previous application cycle, and they can give you some tips and tricks on what were their mistakes. So do not sleep on conferences. Definitely attend them if you can.
Yeah, it would be really good. I think this week we have IADR symposium in New Orleans. So if you can attend, it would be perfect. If you are going, so you plan to go, try to talk as much as you can. Try to connect to people. Try to find your networking. It would really help you, even if that person is not actually like the program director, but you can find connections. You can find more information about different programs. That's really helpful. If you can do it, it would be perfect. I think for some specialties like I've heard that for endodontics it's really important to attend to their annual like congress. I think so, but yeah, it would be really good if you can do that.
All right, on to the next tip. I know that a lot of you are in the stage that are studying for the board exam. One of the greatest YouTube channels that helped me a lot with studying for my board exam was the Mental Dental videos by Dr. Ryan. They are amazing. They give you really good tidbits about all the things that are really important in the exam. They're a very good summary of everything that we have learned over the dental school years. So if you got tired of reading the books, or if you're more of a person that learns better when somebody else explains things, I highly recommend his videos.
Yeah, exactly. There are really good videos. They really help me too. I'm not the kind of person that can, sit and watch the video the whole time because it's for me it's really hard to focus and concentrate. But I can remember during my exam when I was just reading the questions, I could hear his voice that he was like talking about nerves and anything. Even I couldn't watch all of his videos, but there were a couple of questions that when I was answering, I could hear his voice. I could, remember the things that he said because like there were a couple of fields that it was really hard for me to understand, not just understand, the names were many things, and I think when you are listening it would help you to remember those different things. And also talking about exams, one of the questions that usually we get is about TOEFL exam and English. So if you are kind of beginner to English, try to attend in group classes because it will help you to discuss, to communicate and talk. Uh, I think we mentioned that like last episode that me and Sadaf we were in the same group for speaking group, that we were being like there, we were speaking partners. So we tried a lot, and it really helped me because if you can find some dentists who have they are going to apply for TOEFL and then they're going to apply for MBD, you can find those friends that can help you during all the your journey. And also if if you are going to have your TOEFL exam, there are many skills that you have to work on, like listening, you have to improve your reading and everything. Try to find those groups, try to find your resources. And also if you've done your TOEFL exam and you got the score that you want to, please stay studying too, because you need your English for your interviews. It's really important to communicate well when you're having interviews, especially for some kind of like maybe for like pediatric dentistry is really important how you're going to communicate and talk, because it's based on communication. Kids should understand you and also parents should trust you. So try to listen. There are a couple of videos on YouTube that there are for like interviews, or even there are like how to talk to your patient. Try to shadow them, because that would really help you to improve your speaking. The
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, even if your English level is advanced and you're very comfortable in speaking, still, when you want to take the TOEFL exam, make sure that you prepare and that you study for it, because TOEFL has its own tips and tricks. Just because your English is good doesn't mean that you're going to get a high score in TOEFL. So don't forget to study, even if you have a good level of English, I guess.
Yeah, I was just thinking that you got 120 on TOEFL, so I think you have many tips. I was thinking maybe it would be really good if we can have one episode about TOEFL, because, when I was studying, there were a couple of like, I had your voice samples and or your writing samples that I was studying. I can remember the day before my exam, I was reading a couple of your writings to improve, my knowledge and everything.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Like, if you think that tips and tricks for TOEFL will help you, definitely leave us a comment, whether under the video, under the podcast, wherever you're listening to this, or in the Telegram group, so that we put together that deep dive in TOEFL episode and get a high score together, I guess. All right, so let's move into the second stage of the application cycle, which is while you are going through the application cycle itself. The first tip that we have for you on that is to apply as early as you can. Even though most schools do not have a rolling application and they still will evaluate all the applications that they receive up until the day of the deadline, they will put more emphasis and time on the applications that are submitted earlier on than the ones that they receive last minute.
I've heard that a couple of schools, for them, it's really important to apply as soon as possible. So you can show them that you were really interested in that school and you wanted that school. So try your best, do everything in advance to apply them as soon as possible. So talking about application and applying, apply as much as you can. If you have that budget to apply, many schools try to do that, because you don't know which is you cannot be sure which school wants you. You have your criteria, you have to apply based on your criteria, but try to apply as much as you can, because
Yeah. And even if you get interviews from schools that you're not 100% sure that you want to go to or not, if you can attend those interviews. First, most of them nowadays are online, so it's super easy to go to the interview. You don't have to get on a flight and go there. I mean, most residency interviews are still in person, but a lot of the IDP, advanced standing interviews are online. So attend as many interviews as you can, because that's the way that you can evaluate yourself in real life setting and see what are your weaknesses and what are your strengths when you are in the interview setting. All right, something else to keep in mind is to review as many CV samples as possible. Be very precise, very consistent with your format and wording and everything in your CV, and also be very meticulous about like typos, things like that. Make sure that you take a good look at everybody else's CVs. There are a lot of good formats online as well, like on Canva and Google, that you can find, and you can just put in your information in them. Something else that a lot of people ask us is like, how many pages should my CV be? Well, I think my CV was about 2 pages, and Rata's CV, I think, was about 2 pages too. There's no specific rule that it says it has to be 2 pages, but try to make it a summary of everything that you have done. Highlight those important things. Don't write everything, because that will reduce the value of what you've written. If you have like a 6 page CV, nobody's going to read that.
Yeah, I think people who are actually reviewing your application, they might be bored. And also, I've seen a couple of people's CV that they're like 5 or 6 pages, but when I'm going through them, I see a lot of spaces. They're just tap, tap, tap. So don't do that, because some people think, if our CV is 6 or 7 pages, people would think, oh my God, they're really good. But no, it's not like that. You have to be like, you can have summarized part. You should include dates, description of every role that you had or anything that you are going to put on your CV, the place that you attended that. You can start with your education and also like dental experiences. And after that, if you have research experiences or any publication, you can add them. Do not forget to add community services. And also, I put like CE courses to there, and hobby and skills that you think are not 100% related, but it's good to have that part.
These extracurricular skills will make you a more well-rounded applicant, and you might have some unique talents that makes you stand out. For example, you might be a professional at a sport, you might play a music instrument, you might know multiple languages. So don't forget to put these things on your resume, because at the end of the day, when you go through the application cycle, it's not all about your dental knowledge, it's about who you are as a person.
So we talked about adding skills and all hobbies that you think it might help you. I can remember the time that I was applying. Some people were applying to a school that digital dentistry was really important for them, and people were telling that, okay, if you know how to work with CAD/CAM, intraoral scanners, or even some softwares, try to put them on your CV. If you can have those customized CV and send them to program. I think you can do it mostly for residency. I can remember in CAAPID that there were a couple of schools that they had that, like you could upload your customized CV for them too. If you are going to do the customized CV, please try to Google or search about their CV samples, because I think like there are a couple of schools that when you search about their CV, you can find on their website that there are like different CVs. You can see how they are going to manage and organize their CVs. If you can do that, it would be really helpful for you. And also talking about CV, if you have publications, try to include them. So for research, you can have two parts. First of all, you can have that research experience. If you've worked in like different labs, try to put that. Like I was working BU Boston University, I tried to put it, and then I moved to UAB, so I put that in my CV too, and also everything that I thought it's related. And also for publication part, you can have your papers and also presentations. Like if you had poster presentation even in your home country, try to include it. And if you have that presentation in the US, it would be better, put them. So there are many questions about how many publications should we have in our CV. I did not include all of my publications in my CV, because I was thinking, okay, I'm applying for a residency that they want me to be a clinician. They are not checking if I'm a really good researcher. I included those papers that they were related to the field that I was applying, and also like those good papers that I was like their first author, or the whole article was really good. You can do that too, and do not be afraid that, oh my God, I don't have any publication, I don't have those like ISI papers. It's okay. I've seen many people, and I think Sadaf seen too, that they didn't have any publication or research experience and they got matched or they were accepted. So even if you have any ongoing projects, try to put them. If you have just submitted the project, try to put them, and do not worry. And remember that they don't want researchers, they want clinicians. If you can have that research experience, it's a really good point for you. It can help you, or boost your CV. But if you don't have, do not panic about that. Try to, even if you are in your home country, you can connect to people via email. You can send them emails and ask them to be a volunteer researcher with them. There are many researchers here that they would love to work with you, and it's really good because you are actually working with people in the US. So try to do that.
And one other question that I think we frequently get is what to do if my GPA is low. I did not study well in dental school. I didn't know that it's going to be important later on for me. I don't have a good GPA. What should I do now? Well, dental school is done. So there's nothing that we can do about the GPA right now, but you can do a lot of things to improve your resume as a whole person right now. For example, taking related CE courses, show that you have continued to work on yourself. Show that, yeah, even though I didn't care about studying then, I do care about improving in my work right now, and I do care about being a good clinician. So take continuing education courses. If, as Raza said, you have any publications, include them. If you have any community services, anything that shows that you're a well rounded person and you are working on your self improvement.
When I was looking, because my GPA was not really high as I wanted, so I asked many people what should I do. There were a couple of people that told me you can do masters, but it was hard for me, so I didn't choose that part. But they were like, you can do a good, really, get a really good TOEFL score, or also do GRE test, or maybe if you can do like ADAT, but try to get a good score. Just not try to have it on your CV and send to school. Try to study for that. Like GRE, I'm not sure if it's really, I think it's not really helpful for CAPID, but if you're applying for residency, there are many programs they would accept GRE. You can check on their, like, on past website and check if there are many schools that they accept GRE, because I think it's not really required. There are a couple of schools that GRE is required, but if not and they accept, it's a really good way to, if you don't have that GPA that you want to, push it away and have a new thing.
I did not take GRE or ADAT. I just took the board and the TOEFL. But I know that a lot of specialties, they, as Rata said, require you to have the GRE. And some of them, even though they don't require you, it's still a good sign for them if you have taken the GRE and you have a good score in them. So that's a really great way of improving your resume.
But you have a big thing that I think your TOEFL was 120, and also your GPA for master, I think it was 4, yeah?
Master's GPA was 4.
You didn't need that part.
And my dental school GPA was also high, so I didn't really think about the GRE aspect. But yeah, that's a great way of improving your resume.
So talking about, preparing the file for submitting your application, the next file that is really important is about SOP. So there are many people, they are asking, can we write it by ourselves or should we ask for help? So if you can write it by yourself, it would be really, really good, but try to get comments from different people. Like when I was writing my SOP, I sent it to Sadaf and many other friends to ask for any addition or something that I should change. Try to have it like story, but do not put everything that you have in your CV, because they would check your CV and also then they would check your SOP. And do not make your SOP really personal. Do not write everything about your personal life. Try to have the balance between your career and your personal life. If you can have, like, from your childhood, what things happened that made you think that you want to be a dentist, like, or you want to be a pediatric dentist or anything. You can have the story from your childhood and from the dental school, that those points that really were important for you, and after that, after graduation, what were you doing. You can talk about that, and do not forget to write customized SOP, especially for residency. It's really important because for every school you have to upload a new SOP. And there's a thing that I've heard from a couple of people that they were saying, we just edit the university name. It's not like that, because when university are reading that SOP, they would know that it's just a sample that you're sending to different schools. It's better to be customized. Like, you can search about the city that the university is in, try to put those details that, okay, I want to apply to that university because I love that city for blah blah blah. And then you have to work on the school, why you are applying to that school. Like, do they have any different courses from other schools? You can find it on their website and try to add them. You can check their social media, you can talk to their residents. If there are a couple of schools that they have virtual externship before application cycle, or even during the application cycle, you can attend them, because they would talk about their program, so you can find many new things that you cannot find on, like, by googling. It's really, really good, because, like, there are a couple of schools that they have a good part on digital dentistry, or there are schools that they're really good with special needs. So you can say, okay, if you're going to be like, you want to work on special needs after your graduation, you can tell that, okay, because I want to be that, it's really important for me to be in a program that they work on that. It's really good because they you can show them that you have your plan, and also they have something specific that you really want. So try to, do your best and writing.
Exactly. You need to have at least one paragraph that explains what was it that got you interested into that program, how do you want to contribute to that program, and what is it exactly that you want to achieve. So don't forget to have that paragraph in your SOP, and don't forget to change it for every school, because the schools are not the same. No two school teach you the same things. Yes, the basis of dentistry is the same everywhere, but the culture is different. The things that they focus on is different. For example, if you're applying to IDP or advanced standing or an AGD program, some schools may be more clinically focused, some might be more research focused, some might be focused on pros, some might be focused on surgery. So know all these things, know the program that you're applying to really well, and include these things in your SOP also. The next tip would be to research about the visa status acceptance of each program. Some schools only accept green card holders and citizens. Some schools accept internationally graduated dentists, but only if they have a green card or citizenship. And some schools sponsor international students for a visa. So make sure to research that so you don't apply to schools that don't even accept your visa status and waste your money. As you know, applications can be very, very expensive. So be smart about it, do your research, and only apply to the programs that will give you the chance for an interview and an acceptance.
And I also want to say that please double check everything, because sometimes if you are looking at past website or for CAAPID, you will see that they are nothing specific about like international students, like regarding if they accept a visa or not. Try to double check. If you cannot find on their website, try to email, because I did something wrong on that. I thought I found it on, I think on past there were like nothing about students and visa, and I applied, and after that I realized that I should have emailed them, and I emailed them and they said unfortunately we would not accept students on visa. So try to double check everything. If you're not sure, try to email. I think I emailed every school just except two or three schools that I was not sure, but try to email as much as you can, because they would be happy, because you're actually emailing the admission office. So it's okay, you can ask them that if they actually accept students on visa, or if you're on green card, sometimes they just want citizens to just be careful about applying.
Exactly. You're not going to get a refund on your application money. So make sure to do your research and know where you are applying to. Also, another very important tip is to ask for recommendation letters very early on in the application cycle. You do not know the availability and the time and the schedule of the person that you're asking the recommendation letter from. So make sure to give them enough time to write you a complete and good recommendation letter so you don't have to text them every day and follow up with email, because that will put you and them in a very uncomfortable position.
Exactly. I had that problem too, because I didn't ask one of my recommenders really as early as possible. So when I asked her, she was not in the US, and she was going to a work trip, and she was really busy. And during the time that I was waiting for her to come back, it was really stressful for me. I was really stressed out, and I was just waiting for her to come back. So try your best. Even you can talk to them before application, starts, because sometimes you might ask somebody you think that they would give you, but after asking, they're like, no, I'm not sure if I can give that recommendation to you. So try to ask it before the cycle starts. It's really good to know, okay, that person is going to do that, and they would, set their minds that they are going to write for you.
Exactly. And try to get recommendation letters from people of different stages of your career. For example, one recommendation letter from a professor of your dental school that you've really worked closely with and they know your skills as a dental student. One from maybe a dentist that you have shadowed in the US. One if you've worked in a research lab. I even got one of my recommendation letters from my department chair at my business school. Like that was totally unrelated to dentistry, but he was a person that I worked with as his assistant for almost 2 years. So he knew a lot about me, how I work, how I communicate with people. So he could put a lot of input about that.
That's really good. So I many people ask about is it okay to get some recommendation letters from our home country? As Sadaf said, yes, it's really good because sometimes you've been like in that school from 5 years or till 6 years. It's, many years. So there are people in your dental school that they really know you. It's really good to have them too. I think for past that we have 5 recommendation letters. I had two from Iran because there were two like pediatric dentists that I worked with them, and they really knew me. So, and even in one of my interviews, they told me that those recommendation letters were really good and we liked you because of that. So do not underestimate your home country's recommendation letter. And there's something else. Try, if if there you are asking for recommendation letter, if you can, please ask them to be more specific. You can tell about, like, you can talk to them and tell them, okay, can you write about like our our important moments that we have, because I can see that people would ask, like they would ask their recommenders, can you write it down that I'm smart and I'm like, I don't know, I'm hardworking. Like, many people are sending their recommendation letter that, oh, she's really smart, she's really hopeful, blah blah blah. It's not really good recommendation letter. Try to be specific to yourself. If you've done something special and you know that that person, your recommender, really love that thing about you, try to include it, because you should show them that you have a good teamwork, you are, you have that empathy, and also you are disciplined to have both parts together.
Exactly. And something else that I want to mention here, you don't need to necessarily know that recommender for many, many years to ask them to write a write a recommendation letter for you. One of the recommendation letters that I got was from a faculty of in an implant course that I went here in the US. And that course was only 2 days, but he still accepted to write a recommendation letter for me because after the first day, when they said that, well, tomorrow the lab will be open from 5 a.m. And if you want to practice your implant placement or suturing or whatever, make sure to be there at 5 a.m. I was one of the very few people who was in the lab at 5 a.m. and practicing. So he wrote me a really good recommendation letter, and I didn't really know him for that long.
Yeah, that's really good. And also, I think the next step is about how to connect and for current students. There are many schools that you are going to apply, and you might not find details about those schools. And when you want to know more about school, the best way is to talk to those students. The current students, they would be more than happy to help you, because sometimes they think, oh, I'm so happy that people are reaching out to me because they want to know about my school. So our school is kind of famous. We love to have more people here. Try to talk to them, try to ask about the culture of their program, the things that they are really important for them. You can find many information with people like the current students that you cannot find anything anywhere on social media or any groups. So try to talk to them, because sometimes they would ask, yeah, for our program it's important to have that, like, I don't know, hobbies are important. Or sometimes they would tell you, yeah, our program for our program is really important to have high GPA or something like that, or that faculty is really focusing on that part. So you can find many information about the programs.
Exactly. And they will give you the tips and the insights that nobody else can give you because they have done it. They are there. They know the details that nobody else knows. So don't be shy to reach out to people. Find them on social media. Most of schools write a list of their residents, especially if you're applying for specialty school. They have a list of their residents on their website. You can go look them up on Google, see if they have an Instagram account, a LinkedIn account, or Twitter account, whatever. Reach out to them, and I will guarantee you that 90% of times they will get back to you. They will give you some really, really good advice. It helped me a lot. Every school that I went for an interview, I talked to at least 2 or 3 residents of that specific program. And it was interesting because each resident gave me a different view also. So don't be afraid of reaching out to people. Don't be afraid of talking to as many people as you can. That will really help you shine in your interview. Something else that you need to really know is the curriculum of the program that you are applying to. Know what are the things that they really focus on. Do they do any specific type of research? Do they have a new piece of equipment? Like, what's going on with that school? What is their curriculum? What is their mindset? So that you know what you're up against, and you know where you are applying to. Do your research. The other thing that's super important is to stay informed about the world of dentistry in general, about if you're applying to a specialty, about what's going on, what that's new in your specific field of study, and if there are any new technologies, if there are any events going on, just make sure that you stay up to date, be involved in like social events that are related to dentistry. That will not only help you gain more knowledge, but it will give you more to talk about during the interviews. And if you have more to talk about, then you will definitely be a more well rounded person, and the interview is going to enjoy that conversation more with you, and that's going to help you a lot. All right, these are all of our tips for the first two stages of the application cycle. Make sure to stay tuned for our next episode where we're going to have a deep dive into what to do when you get that sweet interview letter and what to do during and after the interview. We have some important tips for you that are going to help you succeed in your application cycle. Also, if you enjoyed this video or podcast, wherever you're listening or watching this, make sure to leave us a review and subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can reach more dentists across the globe and grow together. We'll see you in the next episode.